So Gervonta, Tank Davis, Ryan the Flash Garcia have been going back and forth for years. If you ask me, is this fight gonna happen? Hell no. Promoters are greedy. They talk, they hype people up, but they're not gonna risk their cash cows like that. So I think this fight never happens, based on that fact, because this happens in boxing all the time. Today I'm going to break down who the better fighter is. I'm going to talk about their physical, I'm going to talk about their style, their competition, the mix of styles, and ultimately who would take the crown. This isn't a UFC. This is boxing. Fights never happen. Let's get over it. And I don't think this fight will happen. This fight might happen 10 years from now when these guys are old as hell. But right now, in their prime, it will never happen. You see, promoters are always looking for their best interest and all that. So, you know what it is. So, first on the list is physically. Who's a better fighter? So, physically, you talk about height, weight, speed, agility, power, reflexes. Shit that you're born with. First of all, King Ryan Garcia stands at a strong 5'10". Tank Davis, on the other hand, stands at 5'5", maybe 5'4" and a half. 67-inch reach versus a 70-inch reach. Ryan Garcia has 5 inches on Tank and 3 inches in arm length. I would say the bigger fighter of the two, however, is still Gervonta Davis. He's got a bigger head. Looks like he carries a lot more weight than Ryan Garcia does. Ryan Garcia is tall, but he's lanky. Ryan Garcia has incredible speed. So much speed that it creates power. Just like Untitled Chapter back in the day, same thing. It's the speed of the punches that KOs these guys. See, these guys don't get ready for the punches and it surprises them. Everything he throws. Ryan Garcia has speed. Tank Davis has speed. Tank Davis has created some of the best KOs with his counter punching. And it takes speed to land punches at these certain angles. So who's faster? I would say, in my opinion, probably Ryan Garcia. Simply because Ryan Garcia can throw punches in bunches and Tank can't. So that tells me that Ryan Garcia has a little bit more speed. Foot speed, I go with Tank Davis all day, every day. Ryan doesn't use his feet that much. Tank always uses his feet. Agility-wise, Tank. Movement-wise, Tank. Ryan Garcia doesn't seem to move that well. It comes with the stature. Power-wise, I would say they're about equal. I think Ryan has less strength on his power than Tank, but the velocity of it makes it equal to Tank's power. And I believe they're both one-punch knockout punchers. Chin, I've never seen Tank Davis get hurt or go to the ground. And I've seen Ryan Garcia with a guy named Luke Campbell, who had 20 wins and 16 KOs, so he can punch. But I've also seen Ryan Garcia get rocked by lesser fighters. So I'm going to go with chin, resistance with Tank. Physically stronger, I would go with Tank. He's a shorter, stockier fighter, so I would say he has more strength. Strength is very important in boxing because that's how you move fighters around or get them off you. So based on what I've said, it's clear that Tank Davis has the advantage in the physical. The only thing that he's missing that Ryan Garcia has over him is length and speed, but not by much when it comes to speed. So I don't think it matters that much. So right now we're going with Tank when it comes to physicality. Defense. Who has a better defense? In my opinion, Ryan Garcia has non-existent defense. Ryan Garcia always goes forward. He's a tall fighter going forward, which I think is a mistake. Basically, Ryan Garcia gets you in range where you can't hit him and he can hit you. That's where he sets dudes up, looks for openings. As soon as you cut the distance, all he does is pull back. That's how he got against Campbell. Pulled back. That's always what he does. He just pulls back, which is a grave mistake in boxing because you leave your chin in the air, ready to be countered, like so. Ryan doesn't cover up, doesn't move his head, doesn't shield. He doesn't use his reflexes. He's there to be hit. All he does is back up. He's fast enough to get punches while you're trying to punch, and that's kind of his defense, just a counter punching. So I would say he doesn't have much defense. Tank Davis, on the other hand, can work on his defense. He gets hit often, but he moves his feet and he moves his head, and he's also countering and he shells up a little bit. So Tank does get hit very much, but I would say his defense is definitely better than Ryan Garcia's. You're not going to catch Tank Davis going backwards. He's going to move his head. He's going to move fast out of the way. He's going to counter you. He's hittable, 100%. His defense isn't smart. It's not Floyd Mayweather. It's not Ray Vargas, but it's something. And Ryan Garcia has nothing. So in defense, we're going with Tank Davis. Offensively, Tank Davis recently has been a boxer. He doesn't really go forward. He lets opponents come forward and he counters them. That's how he KOs them. He can go forward, and he's gone forward against smaller fighters like Santa Cruz and all that. But against big fighters, his size fighters, strong fighters, he usually goes backwards. Ryan Garcia always goes forward. He gets in his range, throw punches, devastating punches in combinations with a lot of speed that guys don't see coming. Ryan Garcia hits hard too. So does Tank. But Ryan Garcia looks to hurt you the whole fight. He throws more punches than Tank. Tank sets up traps. But I'm going to go with the volume puncher when it comes to offense because you're throwing while they're doing more. So I would say offensively, I think Ryan Garcia is a better fighter than Tank Davis. Tank Davis gets all his good punches from counter punching as he's going backwards. That's defense. It's not really offense. IQ, fighter IQ. Who's a smarter fighter? It seems like Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis always have problems with fighters. No matter what fight it is, they have some sort of adversity. Tank can't figure out this guy. He gets caught a couple times. Ryan Garcia gets dropped and then figures him out later on. I think both fighters aren't the smartest fighters, but if I had to go for one smarter fighter, I would go with Tank because he adjusts a little bit better than Ryan Garcia. You see Ryan Garcia when he wins in these long fights, he kind of does by volume and power. He puts it on opponents. Stamina comes on and he starts throwing more punches and harder punches and he beats him into submission. Tank Davis sets up traps. He learns how you're coming in and he'll counter you, or he'll look for an opening, and that means he's learning throughout the fight. And that while Ryan Garcia isn't so much, he's just outlasting guys. So IQ, I'm gonna go with Tank Davis. Now competition, these are the best opponents that Tank Davis has fought in my opinion based on the opponent's records. Number one, I would say Isaac Cruz because he's still young. He hasn't really lost bad. And I think he's going to beat a lot of guys. This is going to be Tank's best win ever to date. Number two, Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz is a former 122 champion. He beat a lot of guys like Vikinho Terrazas, Carl Frampton, Abner Mares, guys with names. He should be number one, but I think Isaac Cruz is going to outdo him. So I'm going to put him as number two, and he was a smaller man than Isaac Cruz. Number three, Yuriorkis Gamboa. Even though he was old as shit, Gamboa has done his thing in boxing. He's beaten a lot of guys. So that's one of the best competition that Tank has fought for sure. I can't think of better opponents than these three. They're so-so. Number one, Javier Fortuna. A lot of people think Javier Fortuna, Abejon, is a bum. He might be, but he's beaten a lot of guys. He used to go out there and throw punches like a fucking tornado, and he beat a lot of the guys when he was younger that had a lot of good records. So I would put him as number one. I would put Luke Campbell as number two. Reason being, Luke he's lost a lot. Abejon definitely has a better record. Luke Campbell has been some good fighters, maybe better than Abejon, but he hasn't lost. But Abejon still has a better ratio, so I'm gonna go with Abejon number one. Number two, Luke Campbell. Number three, Jason Velez. Velez, like low key, like we all know him. He's kind of a bum. He's a quitter, Puerto Rican. I'm just kidding. Shout out Puerto Ricans. But Velez did not live up to expectations, but he did beat some guys. So I'm putting him as number three. If you match up those three fights for both fighters, I would say Tank Davis has fought the stiffer competition. I think Isaac Cruz can beat any of the three guys that Ryan Garcia beat in this case with ease. And maybe fucking Leo Santa Cruz could too. So Tank Davis definitely has fought the better competition, but he's older. So take this with a grain of salt. So based on all this, you can see what would happen. You see who has a clear advantage when it comes to these attributes. Now, if you mix both styles, Ryan Garcia coming forward, throwing lots of punches, lacking a chin, having power, having stamina, having bad feet, I think he would fucking chase Tank Davis the whole fight. And I think Davis, it's only going to take one shot. Even though they both hit as hard as each other, I think Davis can probably take Garcia's punch. Then vice versa. I don't think Ryan Garcia can take Tank's shot. But it's not even about the power. It's about Garcia's style. He pulls back. Tank is fast enough to close the distance when he's pulling back and catch him. Tank can set him up when he's coming forward. I don't see in the world how Ryan Garcia would ever be able to beat Tank Davis, especially now as he keeps getting better and better and better. So I don't think there's a need to watch this fight. I think Ryan Garcia's forward style is made for Tank's counter punching style, and his chin is made for Tank's power. So I easily take Tank Davis to beat Ryan Garcia. I hope they make the fight. I would take Tank Davis. I'd put a lot of money on him. He's a better fighter than Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia, he's not the best in the weight class. So there's other interesting fights for Tank out there. Well, thank you very much. If you agree, disagree, subscribe, hit the notification, and tell me why you disagree or agree. Have a good one.